Okay, welcome back. So you see, I've been working some more on this bird, finished him up pretty much, and I haven't done any more on this one, that's fine. I also traced some of these branches here. So if I go and turn off this eyeball here, now you can see this branch here, and I did them in separate pieces so that if I wanted to copy a branch, which I actually did, this one was a copy of that, I can copy, paste, and I can go and under transform, I can reflect vertically, okay, and then I could take this branch and put it over here or in a different area and reuse those same branches. And the reason why I'm doing this is because we're going to create a repeating wallpaper pattern. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to group this bird here. So I'm going to drag over it, holding down the selection tool, and then I'm going to, while I have my finger on the shift key, I'm going to select the objects that I don't want grouped. So now I just have this bird grouped, and I go up to Object, Group. I'm going to do it again with this bird. Actually, before I do that, after I was looking at this, I thought, I have this green bird and these beautiful blue birds, and I made this bird all green. I ended up tracing two green birds. So I think what I'm going to do, and you can see I didn't really finish him, but I'm going to change his color from this one to this one, just so I have some more variety in here. I'm going to make him a lighter yellow head and didn't actually draw the top of that head. So I guess that's good. So he's a different, grab some bright dark blue there. Okay, so he's going to look a little different. So now I am going to hide that layer again. I'm going to drag over him, holding down the shift key, unclick those two branches, go up to Object, Group. If you ever want to ungroup, for example, say while I was grouping, I got this branch that I didn't want in there. So say this was grouped. Whoops. So these are all not grouped together. So let me do this again. I can't remember where I left off. Okay, I am going to drag over this bird, unclick that branch, unclick this branch, and group that bird. But if I had not done this and I went to group, I could just go back to ungroup, select that branch. Well, I still have my finger on the shift key, and then group. Okay, so there I have my two birds and this lovely branch. So sorry about that. Your assignment is to create two patterns. So you can see the whole artboard there. I am going to create a new piece of paper, in a sense, on my artboard. My artboard would be my big table. So this is your artboard tool down here. So I click on that, and you notice I get this blue line here. And I can, when I'm here, it's letting me move it around, but didn't need to do that right now. And when I'm not on it, it gives me this different tool, which allows me to make new artboards. If I want to get rid of an artboard, I can just hit delete, and it deletes the one that's blue. Okay, but what I want to do is make a copy of this whole board. What that warning was that came up is because I was moving something without having this layer here that was locked, wasn't moving with it, which is fine. I don't need that to move. So I am going to, again, grab the artboard, and while I'm holding down the Option key or the alternate key on a PC, and I click and drag, it is copying and making a new page. And then I let it go. And so now I have two copies of this, okay? So I'm going to focus on this one. And right now I am going to move these branches off to the side. And I'm going to make these birds smaller, holding down the Shift key so they don't distort. And I am going to group them a little bit more. And I am going to say copy, paste. Okay? And so this is going to be a group, and this is going to be a group. There are two groups. So I can copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. I don't need to actually copy each time. I can just paste, sorry. So you see I've got all these versions of this now, right? So I can take all three of these, and using the alignment tool, I can have them all align left horizontally. And then I want them to be evenly spaced. So I can click this and it evenly spaces them. So now that I have those, I can copy and paste. I'm going to group this grouping here, and I'm going to group this grouping here. And so what I could do is have them all lined up back and forth across the page, but that gets a little monotonous, so I want to stagger them a bit, right? So as I stagger them, I think, oh, I do need another pair up here. So what I probably should have done is made more of a tall group right there in the beginning, but I didn't. So if I hit Object, Ungroup, and I add this in here, and then I do align left again, I distribute them to make them distribute evenly, and I hit Group, okay? So actually I'm going to get rid of this one because I think I want to use 4 here so that I can stagger a little bit here, okay? So here I have my birds, and I can copy, paste, and make this pattern. So I've got this column and this column. I want this column and this column to be even height-wise, and I want this column and this column to be even height-wise. So that might be confusing you, but I've got this and this, which are even with each other, and this, which are even with each other. And I think I need more space between them. So I'm going to move this one over. I'm holding down the Shift key so that I keep it just going horizontally across, because I want to still keep it even that way. And what I'm going to do, so now I know this looks confusing, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, and I just moved this one column over. I'm holding down the Shift key. I'm going to move it even more. Okay, so I'm going to take all of them, and I'm going to distribute them evenly widthwise. So now the spacing of this column, this column, this column, and this column are all even. Let me move these guys away. So again, if I move one of these over, and I want to see the way it goes up and down, so that's why I'm holding the Shift key. So when I click on them, it's not allowing me to go up and down, okay? So then, still have them all the same heights that I had set them for, and I redistribute, and so now it has redistributed them further apart. If I want them to be closer, holding down the Shift key, I can bring this in, select them all, and it's just redistributing so it's even space all around. So that's why I don't need to move all of them. So this in itself makes a pattern, but then you can add some different other things to this. I could, for example, maybe I'm going to make a bright yellow circle in here. I'm just going to grab from there, but I don't really want to do that. So here I'm going to send this to the back because I want it to be a little different. Arrange, send to back. And I'm making this up as I go along because that's what you guys, maybe you're making it up, maybe you've got it really planned, but I'm looking at the way that looks. Do I want to fill them in or have it break it? So I can copy, paste, and maybe I put the circle behind every other one of these. So I'm going to, again, align that, And I am going to pull this up because I want this to actually align the same place it does. I'll send it to the back as this one. So I'm looking where that hits. It hits right at the bottom of that tail. So now I've got that in circles. So do I like the way that looks? Every other one. So maybe I copy that and I paste it. And then these two, I do that same thing, but maybe this circle ends up being a magenta color. And I arrange and send to back. Okay. And so then I'm going to, I can alternate with this yellow again. So now there is a function in Illustrator that does pattern making, and it would end up making it much more precise than what we're doing here. But my goal really is to teach you the tools. So try to make it precise, but we're not going to go insane if it's not. I want you to just get those tools down. So again, I'd have to send this to the back. And if I want to fill up my page, I'm going to copy this group and bring it over here. Remember, now I need to make this a group, make this a group because I've added that circle in there. A group, and a group. And now I can select them all and I can have them distribute evenly. And I'll push it over a little bit there. So this is one pattern. And so then on this page over here, I can try playing with a very different kind of pattern where I'm going to shrink this. I'm going to keep these birds together and copy and paste. And I think I'm going to flip this whole group here. Okay. And so what I want to do maybe is have these branches come and go and move around here. So if I copy this branch, I'm going to copy this whole thing, copy, paste, and I'm going to reflect this branch. And so maybe what I do is I try to connect this branch to that. Lost a little piece there. That looks a little wonky, so maybe I just have them sort of free form crossing over each other. Maybe I put this one in a little bit differently, which is why I did not group them all in the first place, because I intended to potentially do something like this. That piece is actually stuck on, so I could do something more like this. So I'm creating a little bit of variety, and then I think I'm going to take all of those and rotate it a little. I'm going to group them. And so what I can do now is maybe this becomes one row that I'm going to group. So maybe I don't want this anymore. I'm going to copy and paste and reflect. And move that down and stagger it. Actually, I kind of like the way that's overlapping there. So maybe I'm going to stagger it a little bit more. And then I can copy this one, copy, paste. And these two should be aligned even at the top. And then if I'm going to copy this one and paste this one should fall same place I did for that one. And so then this will be grouped. And then I'm going to shrink this whole thing down. Again, I'm just doing this on the fly. And I kind of like the way this has this open white space in here. So I'm going to make my pattern even a little bit more